Start. First of all, I thank the Honorable President for giving me this opportunity to speak about the flagship program of the Prime Minister, which was launched in September 2014. Let me start by first of all dispelling some misunderstandings about Make in India. It is not a scheme. It is not a scheme which gets launched somewhere. It is not a program for pushing certain kind of sectors. It is an initiative. It is an initiative which was launched in September so that the approach that we take towards manufacturing in this country goes through new processes, goes through a new mindset, and new areas are brought into it. Therefore, when we launched Make in India in September 2014, it was with an intention of underlying the fact that manufacturing has to be revived in this country. All of you will be fairly aware that after the second 5 year plan, there has not been a specific emphasis given for manufacturing in this country for whatever reasons, and therefore to revive this interest in manufacturing, Make in India was brought in as an initiative which will bring in new processes, new mindsets, and also open up new areas or sectors for interest in manufacturing. Now, when we say manufacturing and emphasize on manufacturing, why is it that we want to do just for manufacturing and not talk about the other two sectors which are equally important in this country, which are agriculture and the services sector? As a backdrop, I would like to mention here that agriculture is known in this country as employing the highest number of people. It has nearly, even by today standard, more than 60% of our employment being generated there. As a result, you have a great deal of underemployment in agriculture. When I say underemployment, people are engaged in jobs which really don't fully utilize their potential, as a result of which they are paid less. Agriculture, which can contribute a lot more to our GDP, does not end up contributing as much because there is so much underemployment in it. Now that underemployment has to come out of agriculture and they have to get engaged somewhere. They really cannot get engaged in the services sector, which contributes more than 50% to our GDP. If it's contributing more than 50% to our GDP, you would think that that is a sector into which the underemployed or the excess labor of agriculture can go in. Unfortunately, it is not so for two reasons. One, because services sector other than tourism component of it requires high skilling, and they also disproportionately engage in employment in the sense of the intensive contribution that they make to our GDP. They cannot employ that many proportionately. They employ disproportionately less number of people in services sector. So you really cannot hope to have this excess labor from agriculture move directly into services sector. They have to have some window of opportunity in manufacturing wherein different skill levels can be accommodated. So, semi skilled, partly skilled, fully skilled people can also find various types of jobs only in manufacturing, but they cannot find such a comfort in services sector, although services contributes more than 50% to our GDP. Given this, therefore, the Prime Minister thought it fit that revival of manufacturing is the only way in which India can have potential of this large chunk of excess moving out of agriculture into manufacturing sector. More than this, you also have nearly 300 million of our people coming into job market by about 2030. So it is a potential employment generation area that we need to highlight. That is why this emphasis on manufacturing. Now, talking of the emphasis on manufacturing through the Make in India, did we have any particular list of things? Yes, about 25 sectors have been given importance. We have listed them out. These are the sectors on which we are focusing in order that Make in India with those sectoral preferences will push forward in order to have greater investment brought in order to have greater technology brought in, and therefore create more jobs. I am happy to report here, Honorable President, that throughout his visits abroad, the Prime Minister has generated a lot of interest in the idea of Make in India, as a result of which there are two impacts which have been created. One impact is the increasing flow of FDI into the country. I have repeatedly said in the last few public addresses that I have had the opportunity to have nearly 38% increase has taken place in the last 1 year of FDIs coming into this country. Whereas if you look the world over, there has been a drop of 16% FDI flow into different countries. In such a gloomy scenario, I am happy to report that India has shown a 38% increase in its FDI receipts as opposed to the 16% global fall. So, this is one impact which we have had as a result of the Prime Minister's visit generating interest about Make in India. The second impact has been several multinational components which have high technology production capabilities, be it of aircraft, be it of high technology, fabrication, materials, or even semiconductors, are looking at India now to see if they can shift from various locations all over the world to come to India and set up manufacturing units here, because we have proven that we are still best placed in terms of cost. The cost of production in India is still far lower than many of the economies where high technology units have been set up over the last several decades. Even China, which was well before us and seen as a place for reduced cost of production, is now becoming more high cost prone area. As a result, many of them are shifting out of China, and at this time, speaking about Make in India has really served the purpose.